Hey guys, going to install a floor sweep into the dust collection system today. I've been doing that refurbishment on my old 5 horsepower Clearview, and it actually cleaned up so well that it's too powerful. I know there is seemingly no such thing in a wood shop, but it is crazy, crazy suction. I have to leave a bunch of my gates full open. My jointer gate needs to stay full open. Both my table saws full open. Planer gate needs to stay at least half open relative to how the lines are run. It's staggering how strong it is. So to help with that and the full openness, I'm going to install a floor sweep. And the floor sweeps, as you probably well know, are pretty straight, but it's just a little system that's on the ground here, right? And you just sweep your goods up into the bottom of this little catch, and then that's going to go up into your ductwork. Got to be really cautious with these guys because you don't want to get any metal or debris other than sawdust in there for many, many reasons. First, damaging your equipment and your impeller if it makes it all the way to that part of the machine. You could get a spark flying somewhere. Sparks and sawdust, no friendly at all. So the idea is what we're going to do, because this is a 6-inch here, and then we're going up to a 4-inch coupling and a 4-inch duct. We're going to reduce down. And right now you can see that that does not actually fit directly inside. We're probably going to do a little bit of crimping of this HVAC piece. This is, not Nordfab or Oneida or US duct. This kind of stuff, when it gets in these little weird situations, HVAC ducting works well. You just usually have to crimp it or potentially crimp this, depending on your choices. And then we'll just metal tape the shit out of that to clear any, air gaps that you may get in here. For the sake of attaching it to our blast gate, which I don't know if I'm going to even use a blast gate. Like I said, I'm probably going to leave it full open. But on this piece, there is a fair bit of wiggle. That wiggle there is definitely something that we're going to have to manage or mitigate. Again, maybe I'll crimp that, or maybe instead of using straight to the blast gate, we create a little splice and use an actual piece of this pipe. This pipe's got a bent or a flattened edge. You can kind of see that there. That is not great for connections anywhere else. So maybe we can cut this pipe short and use that to fill this gap here and maybe fit into this piece a little bit better so that we don't have all this slop. And even if there is that slop, if I can't get around it, just gonna metal tape the shit out of it with some sheet metal screws. Okie doke, let's get into this. Crawling around on a wood shop floor, right? So let's first figure out our distance, because this is going to be the most important part. I want to get that basically fit in there. And I've been messing with it a little bit, and it looks like we're going to have to do a very small bit of crimping, but not much, because you can try to force that in there all day long and it just won't happen. So you make it a lot faster with these guys here. These crimpers are pretty cheap, pretty much anywhere you get them. I think the most expensive I saw was like 35, 40 bucks, but it just creates a crimped piece just like any HVAC. I'm not saying that these are the top end hydraulic and anything cool or crazy like that, but it's going to allow us to fit this inside by creating this crimped edge. And you can kind of see how that's working. That's our crimped edge, and then there's our solid. And it's amazing. I'm a woodworker, and how much time I spend doing things that aren't woodworking. It's just seems to be a nonstop thing around here. A day in the life of a single wood shop owner, single employee, if you will, wood shop owner and creator tends to always have its own little games and nuances that create challenges on a day-to-day basis. Like even right now, even with the crimping, that might not make it. Crimping, crimping, crimping. Maybe we'll do a little bit more crimping. What do you say? All right, we're gonna put a couple of screws in this bad boy just to hold it stout, which again is super necessary considering. Wow, I mean, this all around, what a struggle. And that one, of course, went in super smoothly, but just enough to hold it there. We don't need anything crazy. Then we're gonna slap some metal tape on this bad boy. This foil tape is just so helpful in all the ductwork stuff. You can mold it to kind of whatever shape you want. Gets a really good seal. And if you ever do have to remove it, it's actually quite easy to remove as well. And when you tear it, tears just like that. You don't need any crazy scissors or anything. Just make sure that's got a good seal all the way around. And on this standard HVAC stuff, there's going to be seams. Those are not welded. They're just spot riveted. So I'm taping all the way up and all the way around this unit to make sure that every gap is potentially, well, that is sealed. I don't want it to be potential, I guess, right? I do want to seal this shit. Don't know yet. All right. But there she goes. So step one done. All right. We got our piece cut. We also filed down the edge. For lots of reasons. Again, we don't want little metal shards, but to the same extent, file down the edges so that hopefully the fitting works a little bit better. I cut it long just in case because I wanted to try to fit this a couple different ways. So first off, you'll be able to see how these fit in the sleeves. Pretty straightforward process. You just tap that guy in there, it goes right down into the sleeve, and you're good to go. All right, and there's these little O-rings that go around the clamps, and you'll see that in its final form here. But basically, these guys just tap down into the sleeves. However, what I really wanted to see is how this fit a couple different ways. How this fit here. This is my first time doing this, so let's see how this works. So really doesn't fit in there well, like I was saying. You're going to have to hammer the shit out of that to make that work. This side with the flare, for whatever reason, I don't know if they taper these pipes, but fits much better. So you can see that actually fits in there. So that with a hammer down could work pretty nicely. So the question now is this going to fit inside of here? Oh yeah, it does. So that's sweet. So that means I can keep my blast gate up high. I'm going to hammer this down into here. That'll be nice and airtight when that's hammered down. But now I can actually cut this to my final, because that way I have this nice and tight to the ground, because that's what we want. It's a sweep. We want it flush to the ground. And I'll be able to have my blast gate up higher. Again, this is just going to connect up here. So we're going to get that measurement and cut that distance off of this pipe. And that is looking like 2 3/8, which would be super, super tight. But because I'm going to tap this down a little bit, I'm probably going to go tap that down first to get that on there nice and snug. That way I know what my exact measurement is. Looks pretty even all the way around. I mean, that's going nowhere. That is just going nowhere. Maybe a couple extra just for good measure, but I don't want to bang that thing up too much. Boy, that fits great. All right. So now we've got our 2 3/8 is what we had. But let's see if that's changed and by how much. I feel like it's going to change by quite a bit, because that was a lot of tapping there. Yeah, now we're all the way down to 2 1/8 strong gate. So now we're going to check our final fitment, keep our fingers crossed, and file down the end of the cut. Okay, like that. That's just going to screw in, and we're going to tap that. Wow. Me likey. Right, so these clamps are a bit tight, a bit tricky. You need to fit them above the first ring. Make sure that you don't tear up all that weather stripping on your first round. And then we get our other piece on there. You make sure the clamp is around both of the quick fit rims of the piping. And that's the sound you want. That's a good connection there. All right. And then she's good there. That's nice and solid. We'll probably just put a couple tap screws down into the concrete here just for holding.